AI tools are gaining importance in business communication. Globalization, the rise of remote work, and increasingly complex business processes demand multidimensional, seamless communication. And AI makes this possible. By accelerating processes and simplifying team communication, companies become more effective and productive. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Analytics Insight podcast, where we talk about the ever evolving tech space. And I'm your host, Priya Dayalani. Now, in the world of CRM, customer relationship management, the entire landscape is undergoing a significant transformation driven by the integration of AI and omni-channel automation. As we dive into the future of CRM in 2026 and coming years, it's essential to understand how we got here. Now, the traditional CRM landscape, once dominated by simple database management, has evolved into a sophisticated ecosystem that leverages AI to deliver hyper personalized customer experiences. Let's welcome Ujwal Makhija, founder and MD for Non Communications, to give insights around how AI, automation, and omni-channel platforms are redefining customer engagement for large enterprises, as well as the role of AI driven automation in enabling faster, smarter communication across diverse digital channels. Hi, Ujwal, how are you doing?
Hi Priya, thanks for having me on this very interesting session. Doing really well, thank you.
Great. It's a pleasure to have you on a podcast today, Ujjwal. And of course, I mean, when we talk about business communication, AI has definitely transformed a lot of aspects of this particular vertical, specifically if we talk about the customer relationship management landscape. Of course, we are going to have a very interesting conversation today. So let's start our conversation by telling our listeners more about Phonon Communications, a very interesting name. So, if you could help us understand more about the company, its specialization, it would be great.
Priya, yes, it is a very interesting name. Let me tell you about phonon. There are two very interesting particles in physics. One is called a photon, which is a quantum of light energy, and phonon, which is a quantum of vibrational energy. Vibrational energy is what creates sound, and it's also a tongue-in-cheek representation of what we do, which is keeping the phone on, right? So in fact, some of my customers had often used to, right in the early days, used to pronounce our company name as Phonion, Phoneon. We had a similar domain called Phoneon, redirecting to our original domain as well.
Okay.
But yes, what we do, and this is, I think, my early years were in the outsourcing sector, the call center industry. I set up some of the very first call centers in India. Right, way back, I think WNS's first call center out of Gurgaon, their first call center operations was set up by me there. I was the project manager. I always realized and thought that while we are getting jobs into India, and this is way back, we didn't, I mean, when IVRs used to be just the telephone railway inquiry systems where you punch in the train number and you get the status of the train, or PNR number and you get the confirmation status of your PNR. I always thought that when I was getting these jobs into India, I was getting a lot of documented knowledge, but there's always a part called the tacit or the implicit knowledge, which service agents locally who were contextual to that particular domain, that particular geography would always have, which getting those to India would not matter. For example, we got baggage operations for a large airline into India. English speaking agents, French speaking agents, right? Got all your Francais involved. Did the entire call center implementation. Everything went with clockwork precision. But come December, come Christmas travel, all hell broke loose. I mean, way back, you wouldn't know a 10,000 rupee agent, 12,000. I mean, I was from the IMs. I didn't know what freezing rain in North America meant around Christmas travel, right? So the entire call center actually went for a toss, and that's when I realized that look, if you were to do a time and motion study, a lot of these processes can actually be automated, and the agent should actually be sitting and doing the work that they are supposed to in terms of empathizing and helping solve the customer's problem, not digging out for data, which systems can always do. And that was the genesis of Phonon, where I said, no, I want to go out in the market and automate a lot of work. In fact, that's why I realized and that getting call centers to India would be a short-term game. And that's really what happened. Call centers that were coming to India then started going to Philippines, territories which were closer to the cultural positions of the countries that were outsourcing. And from them, a lot more call centers started moving back. Today, they are moving back shore because people one thing that people miss out is context in the entire conversation, right? And that's what I we set out to do at Phonon. We said we will give the right information to the right person at the right time, an actionable information, and then leave the discretion of using that information on the individual. And that's how a lot of airlines started using our systems way back. I think we installed the country's first automated dialer for which was used in businesses, where Kingfisher Airlines started calling passengers through automated calls and informing them if the flights got delayed. Having done all of this, the question today is where we are in the post-pandemic era, where I think I used to say this, that from 21 to 23, we have actually gone, or 24, 25 now, we've actually gone what we were expecting to go by 2030. So digitization has picked up space. The challenge that comes in around this sector, around this particular period of time, is people say digitization will do away with job. I have a slightly differing opinion. Digitization and AI will help people do their jobs better. And that's a very, very critical insight. I mean, you look at it, and this has always happened with technology, right? You look at the industrial revolution. Before that, we used to have tradesmen. There used to be a tailor, there used to be a smithy person, there would be a carpenter, right? But the invention of industrialization and lathe machines and repeated work did away with tradesmen, but started getting industrial workers and industrial designers in place, right? You look at emails. Ultimately, they used to say no one will. Of the one of the first statements around email was who will use email, and email has actually replaced all of post. Post offices have changed into being either hyper-local delivery services or turned into banking services themselves with their outreach. Talk of the outsourcing revolution, which was these thick internet cables, high-density cables that we got into India in the early 2000s, which led to a lot of BPO jobs coming into India. So there was value creation at any stage, even with AI. There is value creation which will help people do their jobs better. So AI, the way Phonon, and what I'm coming to is way Phonon is envisioning AI is that we do not want to replace agents. I do not want to set a barber appointment through a digital process. I would rather have the barber send a message to Ujwal saying, "Hey, it's been 4 weeks since you came for your last appointment. Can I set an appointment for you now?" Right? And therefore, I would rather help do that work better. And that is where I think technology is going to get adapted very soon.
Very well pointed out, Ujjwal, and of course, that really sets the context well for our discussion. And I think what really stands out is how Phenon isn't just adopting technology for the sake of it, but using it very responsibly and deliberately to solve some real on the ground challenges.
Mhm.
And I think the way that you have combined domain expertise with innovation clearly positions you as more than just a service provider, and wherein you're building and focusing on delivering long-term value to your customers.
Oh, absolutely. I think value creation, and that is what where a lot of we have been bootstrapped through our journey. And I believe that the true sign of a successful company is positive EBITDA, is profits, is value generation, right? Fine. When I talk about scale, at scale, saying that I will sell at a probably I will still have a maintain a positive EBITDA, but I might have lesser profits and invest more in marketing and sales. That is very well understood and appreciable. But any company saying that it will take me X amount of time to really develop and therefore I will be EBITDA negative, I will be cash flow negative, is I think then we are not hitting the sweet spot. As I say, the best product market fit is through a paying customer. And why do we often, it's been a little bit of a struggle saying that, hey, we make profits, and which is where customers come up and say, really? I say, yeah, we have to. That's the only way for any company to survive. Every company makes profits, and I mean, whether you like it or not, that is what commerce is all about. And that's what my insights to whoever, whichever early stage investor, early stage company that I invest in personally, the companies that I mentor, I just tell the founders one thing: hey, what is your path to break even and profitability? If you're going to show me a path of greater than 9 months, then you're better off doing a PhD and an R&D thesis than you're not running a company. Why would any customer also then engage with this company? I mean, think of it. We are in a tier two city. Leading airlines of India use us, have been using us for a decade and a half, almost. I mean, 8 out of 10 Indian passengers are informed of flight delays from our platform, right? We work with leading banks, leading insurers. The entire concept is you're either making money for your customer or saving money for your customer. If you can deliver value in either of these two routes for your customer, your customer is not going anywhere. And that's where the delight and the entire drive comes in, that hey, how can I put technology to best use for business outcomes, which is what I would tell my all my entrepreneur friends, all youngsters who probably have lesser gray hair than me and are on their journey. Talk about end result value, don't talk about how you do it.
Definitely. And I think that really is important because I think it gives our customers a very strong sense of why our work matters and, the kind of role we are playing in shaping the future of this space. With that foundation in place, Ujjwal, so when I talk about Phonon, I think, you have developed this MCP server at 22 North, which seems to be like a very remarkable solution that you guys have launched for airlines in processing their data and moving their data. So, of course, see, one of the challenges of the AI revolution is simply keeping up. And if we talk about the airline industry, by 2030, the skies won't just be filled with airplanes. I think they'll be alive with data. Because for airlines, the competitive edge will shift from punctuality and pricing to more predictive services and hyper personalization. And we all know, as a normal customer for an airline, I think our passenger expectations are also rising. We have different operational complexities. And I feel the future of airline customer experience lies in how seamlessly data, systems, and people connect across the traveler journey. So I would want you to give like a basic idea. I mean, what led you to build the MCV server at 22 North? And if you talk about airline, and airline on WhatsApp is quickly becoming like a breakout use case. So how do you think that airlines can no longer afford to ignore WhatsApp as a customer experience channel?
Right. I think there are two or three key items that you touched upon this. The first one was how airlines are going to migrate onto data and data points. I think I completely agree with that. And that is what, in fact, the aviation terminologies in terms of airlines are increasingly treating themselves as an e-commerce company, as a shop with a perishable commodity, right? And that is what the concept of new digital commerce or NDC is bringing in. They give an offer for a price depending on the inventory they have. They take your order, they settle the amount and pricing with you, and they fulfill the order by taking you from place A to place B. Now, how can I take it really well for Priya, who I know likes to get a window seat in the front of the aircraft whenever she flies? Now, that is where data analytics and NDC will play a great role for the enterprise, especially in the aviation sector. From where, which is where we identified that, look, today the number of channels that I can get in touch with my airline is huge, right? I can use Twitter, I can probably use Instagram, I can use email, I can use the website, I can use WhatsApp, I can use Telegram, I can use the automated voice calls, right? But in all of these, I'm going to do 15 or 20 different things with the airline. Right, I'm going to buy a ticket, I'm going to check in, I'm going to buy some ancillaries, I'm going to sell, post sales, I'm going to do certain other things. Right? After I travel, I'm going to give my feedback, and then the airline is going to contact me again. Right? So this entire process, can happen through any of the channels. And what the model context protocol does is think of AI as something which is as basic English, right? In English, for every conversation, we have a context. We always set a context. And in that context, we always have a noun and a verb, which is an intent and an entity, or the other way around. The verb is the intent and the noun is the entity. So Ujwal wants to go to Bombay, right? Wants to go to Bombay is the short statement. Ujwal wants to travel is the context. And within that short statement, wants to go is the verb, and Bombay is the noun. And where does he want to go? He wants to go from Baroda. So based on that, I have a set of frameworks based on which when Ujjwal wants to go, and he usually likes to travel in the morning hours. So I already know that. So can I get the best offer for Ujjwal out of that particular time? Right? And that is where the model context protocol comes in. Whatever be the channel, whatever be the AI engine that I may be using, am I really structuring the conversations into defined components? Ujwal is never going to call the airline to ask the airline about the meaning of life, right? He's going to converse on 5 or 6 different items. So this is where the MCP framework plays a key role. And how do I deliver it? I deliver it using, usually airlines deliver it using their website, they deliver it using their mobile app. And they spend a lot of time and energy saying, hey, let me have my mobile app installed on my customer's phone. Let me have my customer visit my website. But guess what? There's something which is already installed on my customer's mobile phone, which is WhatsApp. And within this WhatsApp, there's a very interesting study that a normal user checks their mobile phone at least about 60 times a day. And out of these 60 checks, there are about 20 to 25 times that the user also checks the WhatsApp, usually higher. So out of every 2 opens, I'm checking WhatsApp one time. So why can't I be present where my customer is present rather than the other way around? And that is where this entire journey of NDC, hyperlocal commerce for airlines, the MCP portal, and the WhatsApp communication come together and stitch into one very interesting platform.
Definitely. And I think when we talk about WhatsApp, it's no longer just a convenience channel. It's fast becoming a core operational touch point for airlines.
Yeah.
What we're hearing is that travelers don't today separate digital experience from travel experience. I mean, if flight updates, seat changes, refunds, or any kind of support isn't available instantly and conversationally for that matter, I think it creates frictions at moments when customers are already very stressed. So,
Yes.
and with WhatsApp coming into the picture, I think it's for airlines, it isn't just about engagement. I think it is more about helping customers, deflecting pressures from call centers, and delivering that consistent support at a scale for that matter.
Yes. Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah, when I move out into the airport, look, we are all as individuals, we are private people. Right? The moment I move to an airport, you like it or not, anyone who says I love traveling as well, but is outside their comfort zone at the airport, you are in control of that, putting yourself in within a metal tube for the next X hours, right? And that's very critical for the passenger, and that's why we call this as being I mean 22 north. Our sub product for aviation is called 22 north. Very interesting. 22 north, let me just take a little bit of a digression here. 22 north is because we are located at the slightly short of the tropic of Cancer at 22 degrees north, which is an aviation term, and fairly positive sounding 22 north. Our motto is that our passenger is always informed, and if the passenger is always informed, he or she is always assured. And that is, I mean, muck ups happen, right? What happened in the last 1 week in our country is a black swan event, and for whatever reasons it may have happened, the biggest irony is ensuring that the passenger has to remain informed. If I'm informed, hey, don't come to the airport, good enough, right? I will then manage my plan B and C.
Right, definitely. And I think this also sets up a very interesting shift where we are moving to more conversational and proactive travel experiences. And in recent years, of course, the way businesses interact with their customers, partners, and even employees has changed dramatically. Of course, thanks to AI, it has introduced new possibilities for communication, making it faster, more intuitive, and of course, increasingly human like gradually and slowly. But I think at the heart of the shift are generative AI and conversational interfaces. These technologies are kind of shaping a new era of human and machine interaction. So, generative AI and conversational voice interfaces are reshaping entire brand communication.
Mhm.
How do you see enterprises using these tools to build a stronger brand salience across channels?
You know what will happen, and that's what I foresee happening. There are people who are jumping onto the bandwagon and saying AI will replace my call center. No, AI will not replace your call center. AI will replace probably the non-critical tasks or non-involved tasks at the call center. Anything which is generic and can be documented and be can completed off in a jiffy gets done, right? And it will enable the rest of the staff to do much more in-depth work. I mean, think of it this way. The moment first of all, I'm creating, I mean, it's a replica of the movie. I'm creating Agent Smith. So as a AI implementer, I have to create the perfect Agent Smith. If there is one mistake in that Agent Smith, that mistake will be there in all my 1000 Agent Smiths. If one agent does a mistake at the call center, that is one call out of the 60 calls in a day that that agent handles multiplied by maybe 100 agents. So one call out of 6000 calls going wrong. But if all the 100 agents have that problem, you're suddenly talking about a 100x problem. So your criticality in designing that the agent Smith or the AI agent is going to be paramount. The second thing is, don't use it as a cost saving opportunity, use it as a value adding opportunity to the customer. Can I ensure that my customer gets the best possible service? And therefore, using AI, using the democratization of communication technologies, can I ensure that, hey, I might have great customer service agents sitting out of maybe, say, Jammu and Kashmir, sitting out of maybe East India, who are amazing in customer service, right? Why can't I have them working from the comfort of their house, right? There are so many ladies who have probably taken sabbatical from work because of the family, but they, guess what? They have 4 hours free in a day, probably morning hours, probably evening hours, whatever be the time. Can I get them into mainstream business or mainstream customer support or sales? And these people are the people who can actually convert service into sales opportunities and service into loyalty opportunities for my customers. And so AI will, I think, I mean, we should not be using AI just as a, AI can be used as a force multiplier. AI can be used as a technology enabler, but AI should not be used as a cost saving opportunity. And I think that myopia will go away soon when people realize that, hey, I need better talented manpower, and which is what will happen. Right? When the typewriters came, when the personal computer came into existence, the typists and the stenographers went out, but the businessmen and professionals who started using WordStar and Lotus 123, which were the first word processing and spreadsheeting tools, which probably some of the millennials would know about, right? And the pre-millennials would know about. That is where the inflection would come at. And that is where I think enterprises will really start adding value through the usage of AI.
Agree with you, Ujwal. And I think when we talk about generative AI, it's more like brand building assets in their own right. And of course, the shift is clear to a more human, contextual, and emotionally resonant conversations with customers.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think that's going to be very important. How do I engage? How does Ujwal call a brand and be assured that he's going to speak to the person who actually knows Ujwal's travel plan and travel idiosyncrasies?
Definitely. And I think we need more of such communication moving forward. So, one last question for you, Ujwal. We spoke a lot about data and generative AI tools and brand communication. So, when data, messaging, and AI come together, how does the future of airline customer interaction look like in the next 3 to 5 years?
I am going to start predicting the travel patterns. the travel insights, the travel, I used this word idiosyncrasy earlier, the travel idiosyncrasy of each of my customers. And like you said, will it start becoming a hyper personalized experience for each traveler? Will you be made special every time? As a loyalty customer, you are not just one loyalty number for the airline. As a loyalty customer, you are actually a airline actually shows that, hey, this is your preferred meal and we have it ready for you. It is going to take, I mean, the era of not just taking a passenger from place A to B, but ensuring that that experience in itself is a fulfilling experience for the passenger is what will drive loyalty, which will reduce the cost of customer acquisition.
Definitely. And when we talk about the airline industry, I think it is already facing a lot of pressure to provide the fast, efficient customer service and, all while keeping operational costs low. Definitely, automation and AI is proving to be the solution that delivers on both fronts. So, whether you're a product owner, a contact center lead, or part of an innovation team, the message is very clear that AI, generative AI, automation, all will be transforming airline customer service for the better. And
Yes.
by integrating conversational AI or omni-channel communications, multilingual support, airlines can offer more scalable, responsive, and customer-friendly service. Well, thank you so much, Ujwal, for taking out the time and effort to be on a podcast today and helping us understand that the future of customer relationship is all about creating intelligent ecosystems that can deliver hyper personalized experiences to customers. And with the power of AI and omni-channel automation, organizations can revolutionize the way they interact with their customers and drive business outcomes. Thank you so much for your insights, Ujwal. It was lovely chatting with you.
Thank you as well, Priya. Thank you for taking time out and having me on this lovely podcast.
Thank you so much, Ujwal. So, this is for our listeners. I hope you enjoyed today's discussion around omni-channel automation, power of AI in airline customer interaction, and how does the future look like. Stay tuned for our upcoming podcast. You can view all our previous podcasts on Spotify and other leading platforms. Thank you so much.